Man accidentally dropped a family heirloom jade pendant into an ancient well. Unexpectedly, the well suddenly emitted green light and turned into a wishing well. He quickly drew up a bucket of water to taste. To his surprise, it tasted ordinary, and he casually spilled it onto a nearby withered vine. What he didn't expect was that the vine grew rapidly before his eyes as soon as he left it. In just a moment, it sprouted green leaves and was covered with grapes. Meanwhile, the young man, who was moving stones, suddenly felt an intense heat. Then, in the next second, a butterfly-like cocoon formed on his body. He broke out of the cocoon, but accidentally brushed against a nearby stone. The stone instantly turned into powder. Without meaning to, he kicked a massive stone, and it flew hundreds of meters. Shocked, the young man quickly picked up a huge stone. To his amazement, he realized he had become incredibly strong. Realizing the reason was the water he had just drunk. He hurried back. When he saw the tree covered with sparkling, glistening purple grapes, he was overjoyed. He picked one, tasted it, and immediately felt refreshed. With this wishing well, becoming successful was inevitable. He picked the grapes in bunches and filled 2 large baskets. He then took them to the market to sell. The grapes' perfect appearance quickly attracted a crowd. However, when they saw that he priced a bunch at $100, everyone was outraged. They all criticized him for being crazy, thinking he had gone mad with greed. But the young man ignored them and offered a grape for them to try. He assured them it was worth every penny. One man, intrigued by his claims, put the grape in his mouth. The next second, he felt an indescribable sensation. Even his chronic back pain was suddenly cured. He immediately decided to buy 5 bunches, but a nearby older man didn't believe it, so he tried one too. To his surprise, he felt the same incredible sensation. Seeing this, the crowd began to rush to buy the young man's grapes. The scene was spotted by the manager of the wealthiest hotel. He bought a few bunches to let the chairman try. After tasting them, the chairman felt as though he was in a peaceful Buddhist temple. He said the grapes helped his breathing and even cured his asthma. He immediately instructed the manager to buy all the young man's grapes the next day. Meanwhile, the young man made $30,000 in a single day. However, he didn't intend to continue selling grapes. Instead, he cleared a piece of land left by his grandfather. He planted hundreds of tomato seeds and watered them with well water. After a day's work, the young man quickly fell asleep. At the same time, the tomato seed sprouted, growing rapidly and bearing abundant fruit. The next day, when he visited the field, he was shocked by the sight before him. The tomatoes had ripened overnight, and the yield was astonishing. He immediately picked them and took them to the market. Seeing a nearby vendor selling tomatoes for $2 a pound, he priced his tomatoes at $200 a pound and refused to negotiate. The vendor mocked him for not knowing how to do business. He predicted that the young man wouldn't sell a single pound. But as he finished speaking, the manager from the wealthy hotel arrived at the young man's stall. He asked if there were any grapes left. The young man said no, just tomatoes. The manager picked one, tasted it, and found it was nearly as good as the grapes. He immediately asked how many tomatoes the young man had and bought them all. The young man estimated about £2,000 from the acre of land. Without hesitation, the manager transferred the money and said he'd send a truck to harvest them. The young man made $400,000 in a day. However, a photo of him selling vegetables was sent to his high school friends group. His classmates mocked him for being pathetic, saying that he probably earned less than $50 a day back home. Not to associate with him anymore. Only the school beauty called the young man. She said her uncle was a hotel owner and had a purchasing need, hoping to collaborate with him. The young man knew she was trying to help, so they agreed to meet at the market the next day. The next day, he was selling cucumbers. Since cucumbers were not only edible but also had beauty benefits, he priced them at $500 each. The school beauty arrived. And after many years apart, they were happy to see each other. However, she was shocked by the $500 price tag on the cucumbers. The young man handed her one to try. After tasting it, she was amazed. She immediately decided to all the cucumbers for her uncle. The young man wondered which hotel her uncle worked for, as they must be very wealthy. Just then, a luxury car drove into the market. The people who got out were rivals of the wealthy hotel. They had heard that the hotel had recently acquired a rare product, tomatoes with unique taste and health benefits. So, they came to the market to negotiate an exclusive supply deal. When they found the young man, they were stunned. It turned out he was the abandoned son of a family that had treated him poorly. He had spent years in the countryside because of them. He impatiently told them that cucumbers were $500 each, and if they didn't want to buy, they should leave. The women couldn't believe he was the supplier they were looking for. They assumed he was struggling in the countryside and had turned to selling vegetables. They criticized him for bringing shame to his family. They even called a bystander to slander him, saying his cucumbers were overpriced and advising everyone not to buy, but the young man didn't care. He just watched them as if they were a joke. Finally, he picked up a cucumber and said, "Why don't you try it first?" The oldest sister grabbed the cucumber, determined to expose him. However, the next second, she felt completely relaxed, as if surrounded by dozens of muscular models. This shocked the manipulative sister to her. For watching.